Welcome to our session. I think we
Welcome.
have an amazing.
Had one glass of wine.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Why did you invite me? Okay. Hey, beautiful people! Welcome to the first episode where your career plug is branching onto YouTube, and I am so grateful to have an amazing friend who actually, as we were prepping for this, I was just like to her, Mpums, you know that this is how your career plan got started.
Oh my
So the fact that, like, as we branch into YouTube, you are the first person to, open us up. I think it's so beautiful.
Oh my friend.
But Yazin, I am so happy. Welcome to our session. I think we have an amazing person. We're going to have an amazing interview where we're going to share. Boom is going to share about her journey and where she is, where it all started, and how she was able to pivot to become the amazing, phenomenal individual that she is today.
Listen to you giving me all the adjectives that I need.
But you are.
I just want to say, as you welcome everyone to the first episode, I want to say I'm so proud of you. Debu is such an incredible human being. Before you are anything in the corporate space, in your day-to-day, the bestest human you need to know. Leads with compassion, leads with empowerment, leads with grace, and of course, beauty.
So wait, why are you taking off my interview?
I'm sorry.
Do you want to have you, my friend? So wait, how are you coming into the space?
Am I going into the space? I'm coming into the space. Firstly, as a friend is going to acknowledge your greatest achievements, but also invited as a guest to share my story, to share my journey in the corporate space, in my community-driven endeavors, and as a human being.
Yeah, so I'm taking you back. Like, it's where they would always ask you, please tell us who you want to become when you're older.
Yeah.
Or what career did you say you wanted to do?
I grew up in Soweto,
Yeah.
in Fuller South, Naserokvili, and raised by women. Majority. My father's late. He passed on in 2001. It's a vulnerable side that I can't share, but I honor him today and I play the saxophone. You know, when I look back at how we grew up, and one of the days we were sharing with a few friends how we used to go take a bath outside with the toilet apparently, and people are like, huh? What do you mean? I'm like, yeah. And to someone else, that's hardship. That's the pits of poverty. And when you're a child, you don't see that because everything around you fills your soul. You've got food, you've got school, you've got access to...
You don't even know what poverty is.
You don't even know what poverty is, right? And again, when you look back, you're like, actually, it was not the easiest time, but your parents paved the way for you to have a journey that is sufficient for your mental health, for you to be able to get to school, for you to just be able to pivot in your life, pivot in your career.
Yeah.
And they pull that journey for you. And my mother was that woman. And for her, education was big because she was a career woman. And a corporate girl, you see, I want to put the words together. Corporate girl, career woman. And that's probably how I ended up, finishing my high schooling career and then going to do a degree in marketing.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about how life completely has an overturn. Marketing was not the directive. I've always wanted to be a gynecologist and a dermatologist, anything associated with medical. And to the point where I got into radiology at Doornfontein campus at UJ. Obviously dropped out.
From high school, you went straight to UJ to go do your marketing degree.
Oh, not at all.
So
marketing was not even an option. It was an option when I realized that I won't be able to cope for an entire 5 years.
Friend, made you realize that radiology is not something, or the field of medicine is not something that is of passion for you, given the fact that, like, from a young age, medicine is something that clearly drove you to even excel academically in school?
I mean, let's be honest, the goo is not for all of us. The goo, the blood, the digest, insect, whatever the terminology is, it was just not for me. Yeah. And I knew that I have a creative mindset and I want to go into a space where eventually I can be a strategist. A strategist to business, a strategist to corporate, whether it's commercial, whether it's business directive. Yeah. But I knew that is where the passion will lie. And UJ, which is why I'm such a fan of, and anyone else will say, guys, I'm a Vitsi. And UJ had an opportunity in marketing, and I was like, I have to just give it a shot.
I want us to go deeper into that, right? Because I think it's so important for us to dissect that. And the reason why I'm saying that is I think a lot of us in high school, right, where we are praised for our brain, right, and we really experience failure, right. When we get to university, that's where a lot of the times we experience our first failures, and it's really hard for one to accept, right. Now, for you, when you realize that, like, what was the first thing that you did?
And I'm glad that you raised that point, Ntebo, because oftentimes we feel like when we have a different turn in our career journey, we are obstructed by the choice of everyone else around us. We're obstructed by opinion. We're obstructed by why not this, why not that. We're obstructed by the news, and this career change is not going to do well. And the most important person when making that decision is you. And you don't know where the future is going to take you. And that's why I'm a big fan of risk, especially in adversity. Because when you're in adversity and you're facing a challenge, that's when you are most amplified as a human being. You want to take the opportunity. You want to take the risk, because if you've already been through worse, there's nothing that can be worse than worse. So the best outcome will be better, and you've got to take the chance. And that shift as a person going into something different, amidst the no's and the where am I going to go and not having direction, it's okay.
But did you know this though, when you were going through that, right? Because I mean, in hindsight, we can then be able to say that, right? But then once you're in it, Ngani, you are. I think also at the same time you're having to deal with your inner self.
Of course, you are.
Oh my God, you're an embarrassment.
Of course.
Oh my God, you are this. You are that. Oh, excuse.
Exactly. And that's why you've got to take it in, soak it in. First year was not the most breezy year. It was tough navigating university. And of course, I mean, I must be honest, I'm not an academic. I'm not like a student. Only now I've become an academic because I've found what I'm interested in, research. You just get through school to get through school. But I will attest to that. One thing that high school has taught me is the importance of leadership. And that translated in the person that I was and the way I grew up. Growing up in a household that was compassionate, giving back to communities, teaching that if you can do something for yourself and you can be sufficient. And that's how I grew up. And that's how you raised. In the hood, that is how you raised. And we always need to remind ourselves of that. It's that circular economy of life. That I could have been taught certain traits. I could have grown up in a certain environment. That'll forever be instilled in me. And that's, I mean,
but it's also so crazy, right? And I know that I'm also moving way forward.
I know, we digress.
But like, it's so crazy how marketing just randomly happened to you, right? And it's something that you really are passionate about. But also at the same time, it's something that I feel like has also just always been there in one shape or form. Like, for example, when you got into pageantry, right? And I think a lot of people don't know that, like, you... Oh my! When I saw only Miss Soweto.
No, friend of Miss South Africa.
No. Before,
friend, it was like the smaller pageants, Miss Rivonia.
Yes. So wait, friend, how did you then? Because now look, you went from medicine, now marketing, then you go into corporate, which is in a different department. Banking.
I know.
So how did that now pivot come in?
Man. Sure. Something people don't know about me is that I'm also an entrepreneur at heart. And I had a small business with promotions and a little bit of modeling. And I worked very well at that. And that's probably where I attained a few of my marketing skills on branding, on PR, marketing it out there. And when I came into corporate, there was a graduate program that I participated in. By luck, on Facebook. Guys, sometimes right place, right time is a thing. Friend, it was meant to be. And I went into corporate, going to the banking space, because one thing that I've always adhered to or taken in, right, as a student of this life that we live, is that when there's an opportunity, the door may not open again. So just get in and you'll navigate around there. And crazy, the program is called Navigate, but anyway, no pun intended. No pun intended at all. And that's where the opportunity lied. And I thought, there's no place that you can be in that you won't learn from.
Yeah.
Go in, learn from it, and then grow from it.
But why not marketing though? Why straight into private banking?
Yeah.
And not basically continue what you had started, what you studied at EP.
The passion was the directive, was to go into marketing, and sometimes it gets frustrating that a corporate will identify you for something else. You're like, oh, why? But which is good, because sometimes you need to start at the granular level. You need to start at the at the crunches to learn about the business so that you can better articulate it, you can better understand it, you can represent the brand, and that as well translates into marketing, because you don't just work for an organization. You work for an organization that builds passion, that builds growth, that inspires, that you wish to see yourself growing in a certain space. And so it's not a temporary affair.
Yeah.
It's a forever relationship that you're building, because you don't know where it's going to take you. One, two, you want to develop yourself to be so prominent and so good at something that one day you can look back at it and say, wow, that's where I started and that's why it was worth it. So I do appreciate it. And at the time I may have not, but I do appreciate that I was directed in the banking space.
Yeah.
At the time I was like, oh my God, the almost Gen Z of me, which is still a millennial, the gutters of where I've been placed in this organization, greatest opportunity ever.
Right. And it's also molded you to where your career is right now, the way in which you come into different spaces, the networks that you've built, right? Yeah. It exudes that, because they call it institutional memory.
Oh, listen to that, and it is.
And you do have that. And then now, while you're still in corporate, go and do Miss SA. Top 5, by the way.
2019. I know.
Just before COVID.
If the dream lives in you, you've got to do it.
What made you actually enter it? Had you entered it or applied for it before? Was this your first time?
No, not at all. It was my second time. 2019 was my second time. 2014 was my first time.
Yeah.
2014 made top 25 at the time. Was young. It's difficult to portray an authentic self when you've designed yourself to be associated with the brand already. So you kind of portray what you think is the ask, and not what you are authentically are. And you're not really honest with a lot of things. You're not honest with the way that you speak. You're not honest with what you want to represent. You don't really actually even know half the time. And that was my case. And that was when I was 19. 2019, when I entered again, more mature, more wisdom, a little bit. There's always a lot more wisdom to gain.
You have a lot of wisdom from that walk. You then did not make it. You made it till top 5. That's like you were so close.
And you were there.
You were so
close,
right?
Yeah.
And you get to this point where you realize that, oh my goodness, I did not make it. How was that for you?
Shattering. It was an out-of-body experience of me being in denial of the current
Did you also have to be like, I'm so happy for you?
You don't know it's happening. It's
really?
You're just going with it. Next, it's a production. So you're not really visualizing the current state. You just be there. And later on, you then realize that, oh my,
I
didn't win. To go back to reality. And reality is where what we currently talk about today proudly, and that we're trying to attack, is mental health.
Yeah.
It kicks in. And at the time, you don't even know mental health, depression. What am I going through? And that's why it's important to speak up, to have friends like you.
Did you feel like, though, that it being on national TV just made it even, just intensified the feeling post the event?
Yeah, it 100% did. You've got so much support leading up to and on the event. And you then realize that I've disappointed so many people. You don't even, you come second. I know. And that's the most heartbreaking moment, because it's done. It's not like I can rewind time. I can't rewind time. And time is a vector, so it doesn't stop.
Oh,
It's
and you've
continuous.
lost so much time as well,
Yeah,
right? In
you've lost
preparing for this.
absolutely. You've prepared for it, but that's why I often say to people, whatever the goal is, whatever we want to achieve, my friend, whatever the intention was from get-go,
Yeah.
we must define our win before the end. Because when we redefine our win, it's not the crown and it's not the sash and it's not the people.
Yeah.
You need to know what it is that you're doing it for.
I didn't know that you were this.
It's just too exciting.
Your career journey is so crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
From private banking, and then you went into being a social media coordinator, right? And then the biggest of them all, of which I'm to this day so proud of you for, being an executive assistant to the chief marketing officer.
Oh my word, what a dream. I admired the CMO before he even became the CMO. His mental capacity and capability of the marketing world was a sphere that inspired me, and it still inspires me today. And I thought, my goodness, if I had an opportunity to learn from that man, there's so much that I can be. And his inner circle.
Yeah.
Oh my word. And it was exactly that. And one day I'll be able to portray that in action, But moving from banking to social to marketing just shows you that the different diverse opportunities that you can be exposed to.
Yeah.
The world is your oyster, my friend. You can be anything. You can race, you can move from this to that, you can change your career. We can be doctors tomorrow if we still want.
Listen.
Yeah.
And they ought to be honest with you, they're all somewhere somehow intertwined, right?
Somewhere somehow intertwined.
And I think we always just so fixated around, am I making the right decision? Thinking so long term, but it's so crazy how careers in themselves are just so agile, right?
Absolutely.
That from one moment you would think that you want to become a chef,
and then
move from being a chef to being a lawyer, and actually realize that even the connection that you made when you were a chef actually so meaningful and puts you so apart in that law firm. It is so crazy. But now I want to make it fun because I feel like we've been so serious.
I know. But before we get there, two things, my friend. Choose to be multi-skilled and multifaceted. And don't choose to be liked. Nobody has to like you.
Do you, baby?
Do you, baby?
Do you, baby?
Do you, baby? And if they do, it's a bonus.
Exactly.
And if they don't, oh well.
Okay.
As our politicians will say, well.
Okay, now we're going into the very quick fun questions, right?
Okay.
What is the one thing that you have in your bag that you never leave home without?
I don't know if it's illegal.
What?
Illegal?
What?
No, it's not drugs.
What?
It's pepper spray. Guys, we live in South Africa. Please.
Listen.
You've got to be safe.
Listen.
Especially in the streets at night.
What's your... I need you to give me an outfit where you would, when you know that you're having an important boss day.
Yes.
What outfit would you wear?
Always put a blazer on.
Really?
It brings that, you said it earlier, it exudes confidence, it exudes pride, and exudes I'm prepared and I'm ready to rock and take over the world.
Okay. What is the first thing you do when you leave the office? When you get home? First thing you do.
Oh, wow. I just sit on my couch because it was one thing that I don't actually enjoy. And it doesn't happen as often. So I have 5 minutes to sit on it. And it was the first thing I brought at home. So it's the first thing that I do. And of course, make some popcorn once in a while. Once in a while. Gotta give yourself a good
and a nice
treat.
glass of red.
Nice glass
just
of
a good
red.
moment.
Play some good music.
I hear you.
Good music all the way. Some jazz. 5 in the morning. I wake up at 5 in the morning.
That being said, now we're going to be here the whole day. I need to wrap this session up. But before just wrap this session up, I think, friend, just reflection. Because I think there's a reflection moment for your own career journey, right? Just one line, your key takeaway from just reflecting on your career journey. And how much resilient you are.
Oh, my word, friend. Good word to use. Resilience. Trusting the process. As and when it happens, you may not know that it's good for you.
Yeah.
Learn from it. Be patient. And like Maya Angelou says, they won't remember what you did and what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. Always take into consideration the people around you. Kindness leads.
Yeah.
No matter what. And that relies on you too.
And I think this speaks just so much volume of the person that Mpumi is. And what a beautiful way for us to start our first YouTube segment, to have you share your career journey and to just inspire us to just constantly do more. Dream more and become more. I love using that quote, and I think it's so fitting. Yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into our first episode. We'll be having more of these sessions. So, with that being said, follow your career plug for more career advice and tips.
Thanks for having me.